And thank you very much. A mosque in London, one of the largest in Western Europe, has been hosting a grand reopening after a fire badly damaged its administration building. 70 firefighters were called out to the scene at the Baitul Futa Mosque in Morden in September 2015, although only a handful of people were inside the mosque at the time. It has the space for 10,500 worshippers. Hundreds of people were expected for this evening's opening ceremony after a £20 million improvement project. Well, joining me now is Khalil Yousuf, who is a spokesperson for the Ahmadiyya Muslim community and a regular worshipper at the mosque. Thank you for joining us here on BBC News. How are you feeling today?
Pleasure. We are absolutely elated. I mean, it's a wonderful evening. We have an opportunity to inaugurate this wonderful administrative block in this mosque, which is intended, when it was established, to be a house of peace and a centre for all of the community. And so it's wonderful that it is opened. We also have the Peace Symposium 2023 and the awarding of the International Peace Prize. There had been a hiatus of a couple of years because of the pandemic. And we're delighted to have had that today as well.
So there have been a number of improvements that have taken place. Could you tell us more about those?
Yes, well, it's a £21 million redevelopment of the administrative block. There are 2 multifunction halls which are available for the community at large. Historically, these have been offered not just to the local council, but to schools as well for them to use for exams, to the fire service for them to use for training, to the police, to all sorts of members of the community, and it's offered to them free of charge. And the reason why we do that is because Islam is a religion of peace, and a mosque is supposed to be the centre of that, a place that instills peace and harmony in society as a whole, not just for Muslims, but for everybody, regardless of their faith or belief.
How did you raise the money to pay for all this?
It is all donations from individual members of the community. We haven't taken a penny from the government. Everybody has given contributions from their own pocket, and as a result of that, we've been able to raise that money and build this administrative block.
Now, I wonder if you could tell us a little bit more about the fire itself. I mean, I'd like to focus on the future, but I think it becomes part of the story of the mosque, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it was 2015. There was a fire which was started accidentally. I think it was just a day or two after the Eid prayers, where the mosque had been filled with, I think, about 12 or 13,000 people. But it happened that on the day of the fire, most of the people who were working within the building were off because of Eid, and there were only a handful of people that were within the premises. The fire started accidentally. And as a result of that, all of the administrative areas, the halls, were very significantly damaged. But interestingly, the mosque remained absolutely intact, and the mosque has been unaffected during all this time. It continues to be used for the 5 daily prayers since then. And it is the administrative block, which is at the back end of the mosque, which was then redeveloped. And we redeveloped it in such a way that it now has 5 floors. As I said, it's got a couple of those multifunction halls, it's got offices, it's got some accommodation, and it really now has become an iconic building, not just in this area, but actually for the country as a whole.
OK, so this mosque functions for the community, and by that I mean outside of Islam. It's had improvements on it, but it's also taken on the element of climate change and energy-saving aspects as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So, I mean, not only is it using photovoltaic, but very interestingly, all of the water that we use comes from a borehole that is within the mosque premises. We use renewables, we try and recycle significantly, we use low energy devices, and so it really is very environmentally friendly. It focuses on reducing energy consumption and maximizing energy output from the facilities that we have here. If I may make this point, I mean, it's not just because being environmental is an important part our culture, but actually in Islam as well, one of our responsibilities is to ensure that we don't just serve the society, but we also protect our environment. And so being environmentally friendly and making sure that we make the best use of natural resources is an important part of the Islamic faith. It's why we practice it.
Okay, well, in a couple of weeks' time, I would like to wish you Ramadan Mubarak. Thank you very much indeed, Khalil Yousuf.
Thank you so much.